Okay, all my dear Year 4, especially Class 4C student, today's lesson we will focus on a story reading, and its title is Prince Nebi's Ring Part 2. Well, before we get to Part 2, we will first watch a video on Part 1 now. So I'm going to play the video on Part 1, and let's watch it now. Okay, just a moment. So we'll watch Part 1 now. All right, this is going to be Part 1. Let's watch it together, Junlock and Joheng.
Module 3. Story Time. Prince Nebi's Ring. Part 1. 1. Where did Selva's class go on Thursday morning? Listen and read.
It's Thursday morning. Salva is talking to his friend Nora. They are at school.
Did you finish the project for tomorrow?
Salva asks Nora.
Yes, I did. I finished late and I went to bed at 12 last night.
Says Nora.
Did you wake up at 6 today?
Salva asks Nora.
Yes, I did. And I'm sleepy.
Says Nora.
Okay, children, please get on the bus.
Says their teacher, Miss Anita. Salva and his classmates are at the museum now. Miss Anita is showing the children a mummy.
This mummy is from Egypt.
Says Miss Anita.
He was a prince.
Wow!
Says Salva.
What was his name?
Prince Nebi.
Says Miss Anita.
How did he die, Miss Anita?
Asks Nora.
A snake bit him.
Says Miss Anita.
Oh, how terrible!
Says Salva.
And sad.
Says Nora.
How old was he when he died?
Asks Salva.
He was 12 years old.
Says Miss Anita.
The prince always wore a special ring.
Says Miss Anita.
When he died, his family put the ring in his tomb. Unfortunately, someone stole the ring last week.
What?
Says Salva.
Someone stole the prince's ring?
Yes,
Says Miss Anita.
the police are looking for the ring.
Miss Anita shows the children a picture of the ring.
This is the ring. It's gold and it's got a big red stone.
Wow.
Says Nora.
It's beautiful.
So that's what we did 2 weeks ago. We have finished reading the first part of the story, and we have learned that Nora and Selva, both of them, they went with their teacher to a museum for a day trip, like we always do in SP1. Sometimes we go out for a day trip with our classmates, right? So at the museum, they saw a very big ring, and also they saw a mummy. And that ring belongs to Prince Nebi. And that's the first part of the story. Now let's move on to the second part, which is for today. Okay, let's move to the second part of the story, which is our today's topic. All right, so after they went to the museum, the story continues. Now, before we get to the story, let us just refresh ourselves on some new words that we're going to see in the second part of this story. The first word will be mommy. Mommy. So this mommy means not your mom, but well, during the ancient time, they like to wrap up the people and to make sure their body can remain after several thousands of years. So a mummy in Chinese, we call it 木乃伊. Okay, and the second new word that you might have found in the reading text later on will be looking for. Looking for will be 寻找. Okay, and then another new word that you might have found and you might not understand would be the word redstone. Redstone carries the meaning of ruby. 红宝石, as you can see in this picture, there is a very big ruby ring here. And as for Independence Day, we seldom call it the Independence Day. We usually call it the National Day. And the National Day is what we call 国庆日 in Malaysia. Okay, so let's move on to the second part. Some more new words for you. All right, for this part, a parade. Okay, a parade is 游行 in Chinese, which usually held during National Day, even in US, either in US or Malaysia or many countries, usually they will have a Independence Day parade, or we call it a National Day parade. And then newspaper. Okay, well, someone is joining in late, but never mind. Well, I already admitted him. So newspaper is 报纸. Okay, for some newspaper that we all like to read, it could be some Chinese newspaper or some English newspaper. And finally, for the last word, it will be cheer. Cheer. Well, let's look at the children. They are cheering. Okay, we cheer when we are excited, when we are happy about something. That's a time when we cheer. Okay, so children, now we can move on to the next part, to the story. All right, so this is the second part of the story. I want to try to give a chance to Junlock to read out. Junlock, I've unmute your microphone, Junlock. Junlock, do you want to press OK to open up your microphone and try to read this text, Junlock? All right, it seems like Junlock. Okay, Junlock, can you start reading? Selvar is at home. This is the second part of the story. Junlock, can you read it? Try and read it, Junlock. Junlock, can you read? All right, it seems like Junlock is not responding. Never mind. So I'll help all of you to read out. So let's begin now. Selvar is at home and he's talking to his father. His father is a police officer. How was your trip to the museum, Selvar? Asked his father. Oh, it was great. We saw a mummy. His name was Prince Nebi. Prince Nebi? Oh, yes. We are looking for Prince Nebi's ring, says Selvar's father. I know. It's gold and it's got a big red stone, says Selvar. The next day is 31st August. It's Independence Day. The children are going to the parade with Selvar's father. Nora dressed up as a soldier and Selvar dressed up as a police officer. The children see a man's hat. Let's give it back to him, says Nora. The man sees Selvar's father and the children running. He pulls his arms up. Look, Dad, he's wearing Prince Nebi's ring, says Silva. You're right. Let's get it back, says Silva's father. Nora and Silva, you are heroes. Your picture is in the newspaper, says their classmates. Good job, children, says Miss Aneta. Nora and Silva are very happy. Hooray! Cheer the children. Now, the moral of this story is to tell us to always do the right thing. So I'm going to highlight the moral of the story, this part, to always do the right thing. Okay? So children, here are some questions for you before we end our lesson, which you all can rewatch the video on YouTube again later. I'm going to put the link up on our Google Classroom. So let's try to move back to the first part. So some questions for you to think about. What does Silva's father work as? Silva's father, what does he work as? So this is a question that you might need to answer in the exercise later as I put up the exercise on our Google Classroom. And secondly, what happened to Prince Nebi's ring? What happened to Prince Nebi's ring? What happened to the ring at the museum? Okay, this could be another question for you all to think about. And later on, another question will be, what day is it on the 31st of August? What day is it? What is this a big day about? And then, why are the children going to the parade? Why are the children going to the parade? Why? Why are they going to the parade? And then, what does Nora and Selva dress up as? What do they dress up as? They are not dressing the children's clothes and they are dressing in some special costumes. And what are they dressing as? And then next up, do they know the hat belongs to the thief? They may not know, right? All right, let's continue. A few more questions would be, why did the man put his arms up? Why did the man put his arms up? Why? Why? Okay? So think about, why does the man suddenly turn around and put his hand up? And finally, they found the ring. And so we'll move on to the last part. All right. So why is Nora and Silva's picture on the newspaper? Why? Why? What have they done? So why is their picture on the newspaper? And finally, one last question for you. What do we learn from this story? What do we learn from this story? So children, all of you will be able to find these questions for you to answer in our Google Classroom. And that will be it for our story. Thank you for joining the class, Jo Heng and Junlo. And there was another student who logged in the middle of the lesson. Thank you so much for joining the lesson. I'll see you again next week for the next part of our lesson for our Year 4 syllabus. Goodbye, children. We'll end the lesson now. Goodbye, Junlo. Goodbye, Jo Heng. Bye.